Good morning, everyone. I'm Terry Moran. Thanks for streaming with us. In today's update, today President Biden will sign another round of executive orders. These will be all about health care, expanding access to the Affordable Care Act. One of Biden's new orders will open a new 3-month enrollment period under that act during this pandemic. Another one reverses a ban on U.S. funding to international nonprofit organizations that offer abortion services. President Biden has signed 40 executive orders since taking office last week. The Department of Homeland Security has issued a stark warning about growing threats of violence from homegrown extremists in the wake of the insurrectionist attack on the Capitol. According to that bulletin, right-wing militants and lone wolves could target elected officials and government facilities. The DHS says extremists may be emboldened by the January 6th breach of the U.S. Capitol. It's the first national terrorism advisory from the Department of Homeland Security in a year. And the new White House COVID response team gave an urgent warning in their first of what will be, they hope, regular briefing, saying that it could be 90,000 more deaths in the United States in the next month alone. Sources tell ABC News discussions are now underway to call on as many as 10,000 service members to help administer shots at 100 sites around the country. So far, more than 20 million people have received their first dose, but the White House says it will be months before everyone who wants a vaccine can get one. The vaccine rollout, and even more critically, highly transmissible variants are being detected in states across the country. Now, UK officials are saying a variant there does appear to be more deadly. And President Biden's chief medical advisor, Dr. Anthony Fauci, discussed the latest on the fight against COVID-19 and those new variants here in the U.S. on GMA this morning.
And just let's start out with the situation we're facing right now. We're seeing some cases coming down across the country. We're seeing hospitalizations come down across the country. Yet, we also had that prediction from the task force yesterday, 90,000 deaths in the next month. How would you describe what we're facing right now?
Well, it's still a very serious situation, George, as the president had said, and as we have said in the coronavirus medical team, that if you look throughout the country, the dynamics of the outbreak are a little bit unstable, even though for the most part, we're seeing general trends, 7-day trends of cases going down and ultimately, hopefully, hospitalizations and deaths. You have situations like the outbreak in California with a new variant there that's causing a lot of trouble. The threat of seeing now other variants that are, at least from what we're hearing from our UK colleagues, that increases the degree of transmissibility significantly, maybe a little bit increase in lethality, but that variant, the UK variant, it's called 117, it's a lineage, a different type of mutant, it's here in the United States and it spreads more. The vaccine that we have looks like it would be able to cover that, which is another reason why, even though the message is sober about the fact that we're going to be seeing more cases and deaths in the future, the other message is now's the time to double down. And when vaccine becomes available, go get your vaccine, because that's going to be very important.
The problem is it's not available everywhere right now. We saw President Biden the other day say he was having a goal of 1.5 million a day. It appeared that members of the task force were backtracking from that yesterday. What can we expect in the coming weeks and beyond?
What you can expect, if things go well, and I think they will, an escalation of the number of doses that will be available throughout various regions of the country. We now have contractual arrangements with Moderna and Pfizer already to get 200 million doses each from each of those companies. And most recently, we signed another contractual arrangement to get an additional 100 million doses in addition to the original 200 from each of these. So as the months go by, George, as we get into February, March, and April, we're going to see an escalation of availability of doses that we may not have had a week or 2 or 3 ago.
But are we moving fast enough to outrace the variants? You mentioned the UK variant. You also have this one from South Africa.
Well, the one in South Africa, George, troubles me. And the reason it troubles me is that even though this is something that is now really dominating the South Africa scene, when you look at the vaccines that we have available now, the neutralizing antibodies that they induce, so we're talking about things just in a test tube, when you measure that, against the South African isolate, it is diminished by multifold in its ability to cover it. It's still within the range of what you would predict to be protective. But I take no great comfort in that, I think, and we're doing it, and that's one of the things I wanted to mention this morning, George. We're going ahead already now and trying to stay a step or two ahead of things by making vaccines along the same type that we made for the ones we're giving now, but having it be directed specifically against the isolate that's in South Africa, so that if it's necessary, may not be necessary, but if it is, we'll already be on the road to being able to give people a boost that directs against the South African isolate. That's what we're doing right now. So we're just, we're not taking any chances.
Well, good on that. We're seeing this real controversy now about schools, opening up the schools. We know President Biden's goal to have all elementary schools open in the first 100 days, but you're seeing some strong feelings across the country. Teachers in Chicago didn't want to go back to work this week until they were vaccinated. The union is threatening to strike. What does the science say about where things stand right now?
Well, it's very clear that right now, in a situation when you look at the community penetrance of a virus and how it's spreading, when into schools, interestingly, when you give the schools the protection and the resources they need to be able to have masking, to get the teachers to be able to have the resources they need to do some physical separation, the infection transmission in school appears to be less than that of the community. So if you have a situation where you have dynamics of a viral spread in a community, it's less likely that the children who are in the school, if we do things right, it's less likely that they're going to get infected. So the science tells us that there's something leaning towards all the things that we need to do. Obviously, we want to get the teachers vaccinated. We want to make sure they have the resources to do it correctly. But when you look at the history of how this virus is moving in schools, it seems to be less spreading there than it is in the community.
Dr. Fauci, thanks again for your time and information this morning.
And thanks to George Stephanopoulos for that interview. Healthcare workers in Oregon turned a moment of being stranded in the snow into an impromptu vaccine clinic. Get a load of this. They were on their way from administering doses at a mass vaccination event when they got stuck in the snow. They had 6 doses of vaccine left, which would expire by the time they got home. So they offered the doses to others who were stranded on that road, letting no shot go to waste. The Josephine County Public Health Director said it was one of the, quote, coolest operations he's ever been part of. Good work, smart thinking there. Well, the Robinhood stock trading platform has restricted trading on GameStop after amateur traders inspired by a community on Reddit called Wall Street Bets took advantage of a vulnerability that set that stock soaring. They saw that a number of influential Wall Street investors were heavily shorting GameStop, which means they were betting that that stock would crash, but that's not what happened. And now amateur traders who got in early are seeing huge returns. And hedge funds, well, they've lost an estimated $5 billion. And we are celebrating a Hollywood legend this morning. Tributes are pouring in for Oscar and Emmy winner Cloris Leachman, whose career spanned more than 70 years. She passed away yesterday at the age of 94. Here's our Chris Connolly.
I had sex appeal. In fact, I still do.
All that and then some, well into her 80s. Cloris Leachman brought her deliciously late-in-life sizzle to such sitcoms as Raising Hope.
I'm just hanging with a friend. And if 10 pizzas show up, they're for me.
And at age 82, to doing the tango on Dancing with the Stars, getting a leg up with the show's judges.
I didn't do it. My leg did it.
Yet even before her renaissances of primetime provocatrix, Cloris Leachman had 8 primetime acting Emmys, an Academy Award, and an unmistakably great way with a comedic one-liner.
Did you know that Lars has a neurotic fear of swallowing hair?
In the 70s, she'd be best known as part of the ensemble on The Mary Tyler Moore Show as Phyllis Lindstrom, married to Lars, mother of Bess, the over-disclosing neighbor swimming in a sea of Twin Cities singles.
She's one of those geniuses who's capable of thinking on the spot and making it funny and making it truthful.
She'd bring those curls and that gimlet-eyed gaze to the spin-off Phyllis. Later taking on a different look as she took over for Charlotte Rae on the last 2 seasons of The Facts of Life. Meanwhile, on film, she was sensational as a gym teacher's wayward spouse in The Last Picture Show.
What am I doing apologizing to you? Why am I always apologizing to you, you little...
Remember her throwing the coffee pot, tweeted Stephen King? Leachman would win the 1971 Supporting Actress Oscar.
I'm having an amazing life, and it isn't over yet.
She'd also star in such hit comedies as Young Frankenstein.
Some warm milk, perhaps?
No, thank you very much. No thanks.
Ovaltine.
For writer-director Mel Brooks, who tweeted, "Such sad news. Cloris was insanely talented. Every time I hear a horse whinny, I will forever think of Cloris's unforgettable Frau Blücher." Born in Iowa, Leachman attended Northwestern and competed in the 1946 Miss America pageant. She'd make her film debut, Kiss Me Deadly. In 1955, she'd appear opposite a pre-presidential Ronald Reagan in an episode of General Electric Theater. 53 years down the road, she would bring the house down at Bob Saget's Celebrity Roast.
Can't believe I shaved for this.
Cloris Leachman died Wednesday at the age of 94, hailed by all for her magnificent and much admired career.
Difficult. This was the easiest interview I ever did. This wasn't difficult at all. No.
We haven't started yet.
I know. Well, we're going to...
She was funny and a force, an altogether unstoppable one. And she leaves a lot of wonderful performances to be remembered by. Terry?
Chris Connolly in L.A., thank you for the one and only Cloris Leachman there. And that does it for this ABC News Live update. I'm Terry Moran. Thanks for joining us. Remember, ABC News Live is here for you all day with the latest news, context, and analysis. And I'll see you back at 3 p.m. Eastern for the breakdown. Stay safe. Have a great day.
The Space Shuttle Challenger is destroyed just a little more than 1 minute after liftoff.
1 minute 15 seconds, velocity 2,900 feet per second, altitude 9 nautical miles.
All 7 astronauts on board are killed.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Tonight, reporting from Washington.
It is the worst disaster in the history of the American space program, and President Reagan has declared a week of mourning for the 7 astronauts, 5 men and 2 women, who lost their lives on their way into space this morning.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.